Brothers and sisters, this turnout tells me why we're going to win here in New Hampshire, why we're going to win the Democratic nomination, and why we are going to defeat the most dangerous president in the modern history of America, Donald Trump.
Bernie beats Trump. That's the message Sanders' top surrogates brought to the thousands who rallied on the eve of the key first primary of the 2020 election season. Sanders won a decisive 22-point victory here in 2016.
We need a champion who says that they are going to go to war with white supremacy. Hello, somebody. Now, New Hampshire, we tired. We tired of the BS, and I ain't talking about Bernie Sanders. Hello, somebody. We need a champion. Somebody who raises their money with the people. Somebody who doesn't kowtow and defend the billionaire class. Somebody who understands that as well as we bail out Wall Street, it's time to put a down payment on Main Street. Hello, somebody.
He needs a good showing to maintain this momentum.
Moral and a spiritual dimension. And I thank God my dear brother Bernie Sanders has got the integrity, the courage, the vision to bring us together and say, not a milquetoast neoliberal running against the gangster.
And speakers like freshman Congressman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said beating Trump isn't enough.
This primary, these elections, they matter. Because in November, when we kick out Donald Trump from the White House, we're either gonna go back to how things were, or we're going to move forward to establish a 21st century advanced society that guarantees economic, social, and human rights for all people.
For his part, Bernie Sanders focused on the lies and racism of President Donald Trump.
Whatever one's political view may be, the American people understand that that is not the kind of human being who should be in the White House. And we intend to make him a one-term president.
Senator Bernie Sanders is leading in most polls, but a majority of voters in New Hampshire are undecided. With no clear winner in Iowa, and even though New Hampshire is one of the smallest and whitest states in the country, it's significant because it carries momentum into Nevada, South Carolina, and Super Tuesday, with many delegates up for grabs in those states. As this rally is taking place, Donald Trump is rallying an hour away in Manchester, New Hampshire. The attendees here believe Bernie Sanders is the Democrats' best weapon to beat Donald Trump.
I like Bernie. I don't think he's as extreme politically as some people like to say he is. I think he's a pragmatist and likes to, the idea of universal health care and things like that I think are important to regular Americans.
I think when people call Bernie a socialist, honestly, I think a lot of the establishment people in the Democratic Party, they're afraid of change. They're afraid to stand up for what they believe in because they're so used to the establishment. Bernie is the only one that's been able to stand up and say, hey, this is what I'm going to fight for. It needs to be done differently.
I would say it's just, I think excuses, honestly, because I feel like everybody's going to the same track that Bernie was saying. He was the one that started it, and that's where people started going after the same ideas. So I think those are excuses just to bring him down, but not really.
So Bernie's critics say his supporters are just white males. How do you respond to that?
I look like a white male.
I think it's really important for all of the candidates, but specifically for Bernie, I mean, just like looking at the people here, there's so many people of like different nationalities, different backgrounds, different ages, just showing that it's not just one demographic.
Like I said, do I look like a white male?
Bernie Sanders has the best chance out of any other Democrat to win the election, so I think that young people should definitely...
He also has like the young people's support.
Oh, he has the young vote, but also, yeah, he's way more progressive than any other person. I don't know. Yeah, he's...
So, I mean, there's a lot of progressives that support Liz Warren, too. Why not her? And she's a woman.
No, I would love to see a woman in office. I just think like Trump's a really... Like, it's very important right now to beat Trump.
Yeah, I think
Bernie has the best chance to do it.
I would vote for Warren, but Bernie definitely has the strongest following, and if we want to beat a Republican in office right now, then Bernie's the way to go.
It seems to me like the numbers say it all right now. I mean, we have national polls that show he's very, very close to, essentially all three of the primary viable candidates right now but all have very good chances, and Bernie is included in that number. So I'm not worried. I think, as I said, if anything, Bernie has the advantage of being able to have many of the same, not prescriptions, but at least the effect of his policies will be very similar, and he's been focusing on sort of blue-collar issues for a very long time.
I'm here tonight to show my support for Bernie.
Are you a Bernie bro?
Am I Bernie? Yes. Early on in the campaign season, I was really supporting Warren because I think that we really deserve like a woman president, and I'm a women's studies major and I'm also an anthropology major, so I think it's really important that we get other perspectives into this, like into our system, and obviously, and it's really upsetting because it's not upsetting, but like Bernie obviously is an old white man, and that's like something that we have a lot of in Congress and in like the the White House.
Our whole political system.
Right, exactly. But everything he stands for is like for making everything more diverse and for like pursuing like better policies.
But Warren has a lot of the similar message. Why not Warren?
She does, but she's also flip-flopped a lot. Like something that was really important to me and something that really got to me was like Bernie's been a feminist. Bernie's been standing for all of this stuff like since he started. Warren's flip-flopped on so much stuff.
Like what?
Like Medicare for all.
Over the past few days, we've talked to a lot of people. Voters, those uncommitted to a candidate or still undecided, about the issues important to them and who they think is the best candidate to beat Donald Trump. What are the most important issues for you this year?
Environment, children and education, healthcare, especially mental health care.
It's the same with me.
And are there candidates that speak to those issues more than others, in your opinion?
Yes, I believe Elizabeth Warren here speaks to those issues. I believe Buttigieg speaks to those issues. Bernie Sanders speaks to those issues. So those are the people that we kind of are like balancing in our thoughts.
So she sees inequality as an intersectional issue that affects all Americans, the majority of them, and I think that she's smart and she gets things done. Why she's the best candidate to beat Trump is she's been fighting corruption her entire life. As the most corrupt president in our history, I think that she has the most fodder to defeat him.
Because I was at an event yesterday and this woman was talking to her friend saying, I won't know until I get into the booth. So that's why these are so important. It's like the final chance to see the candidates in action. The great thing about New Hampshire is you can come and see these candidates firsthand many, many times.
Who do you think has the best shot right now?
Well, right now, I think the momentum's actually going toward Mayor Pete. Bernie's a known quantity, being the neighboring senator, but Mayor Pete seems to have some momentum. Just the events and talking to the people on the ground that we've been doing.
Her core message of anti-corruption is exactly what the country needs to hear right now. She's been talking about how monopolies control this country for years now. She's been talking about wage stagnation for years. She's been talking about high-level public and private corruption for years. Donald Trump is the embodiment of high-level public and private corruption, and I think she's the candidate to knock him down.
And he's got, some healthcare plans that, in trying to protect Social Security. So that's one of a couple of things, and he's environmentalist too. And Amy, I think Amy's a great debater, and I think she could take on Donald Trump a little bit better in a debate. She comes across as more of a statesman. Bernie's a little bit flamboyant, with the hands raising and a little loud, but try to get his point across. But he's passionate too.
He is. Yep.
He's very passionate, so you got to give a person credit for that.
Well, I think Elizabeth Warren is the strongest candidate in this race to ultimately beat Donald Trump. And she has the message that talks about fighting corruption, and that was proven by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, where she started that agency as a private citizen. It's returned $12 billion to consumers throughout the country, and that is, she took on the financial industry and won, and Donald Trump is nothing but a corrupt financier, and she's the only candidate in this race that has taken on the finance industry and has won.
And so some people have said that we don't need another wealthy businessman in charge. And the reason they say is they want the next person in the White House to be accountable to people and not to like other wealthy interests. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't agree with them. In this particular instance, with this gentleman, I don't agree. I'm not concerned about where his wealth comes from, other than the fact that how he has managed it, first of all, how he acquired it, how he has managed it, and how he has utilized his charitable efforts.
Because he supports the same things that he was speaking about 30 years ago, the same things I was speaking about 10 years ago. Consistency is the key.
Yes.
Right, so what brought you out?
So we're out here tonight to support all Democrats, but mainly Pete Buttigieg for his intelligence. The fact that he's a veteran. I think that he's going to unite the party, and I think that he's incredibly enthusiastic.
So the disparity was increased during his tenure, even as arrests went down. Yeah. That's what the moderator was pointing to. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely something I could look into. I don't know that much about it, but I would be definitely willing to look into it.
I'm here tonight in support of Deval Patrick.
And why Deval Patrick?
Because I'm a resident of Massachusetts. I've also done my own legislative training in the Massachusetts State House at Beacon Hill. I'm part of the Commonwealth Seminar, an alumni network that opens the doors to the State House from people from all different various backgrounds, providing legislative training to pass legislations and policies that upon issues in our area. He supports that Commonwealth Seminar when he was the governor, so I'm here in support of him tonight.